Hi, my name is Andrea, and our team was focusing on UCSB courses search, and more specifically, we worked on the schedule aspect of UCSB courses search. So my teammates are Alan Zhang, Evan Yip, Luhao Wu, Marco Ristic, and Sariana Siahan. I, along with Alan, worked on removing the ad column from the search app once you've when you're not signed in, and then when you are signed in, the ad column goes away. So right now you can't see the ad column because you're not signed in, but once someone logs in, we will be able to see it. So now the ad column appears.
Yeah, and previously the ad buttons in the ad column didn't even work, but now when you click them, it redirects you to a new page, which in this case, there are no schedules to add to, but if you create a new schedule, it'll have a list of all your schedules there. And then when you go and click, it'll have an add to button next to your schedule.
And then with working with the legacy code that we had to start with, there were a lot of like inconsistencies within the user interface. So there were a few changes that we made just to make it a little more cohesive and pretty. For one, these field names, when you're creating a new schedule, we standardized like the capitalization and the grammar. Another thing that we added was on the admin settings page, which I think you can only see if you're logged in.
I think I'm not an admin on the production site, so we can't see it, but I think it should still be fine.
But if you were to look at it and you are an admin, then it will give you a description of like what's going to be on that page instead of just being blank. And the other thing that we did is that the toast notifications will pop up when you create a new schedule, and we made it so that after a few seconds, if you don't like hover over them or anything, you can see it up there in the top right, it'll just disappear. So we made them automatically dismiss themselves.
Some other changes we've made for consistency reasons are quarter inputs. So we changed the quarter text box in person schedule to a drop-down menu. And we also modified schedule table to display converted quarter code to month and year. For example, if it's fall 20, it would show originally show up as like 2023. Yeah.
Okay. And going a little bit into the back end, we created this entity called schedule items controller, or schedule items, to eventually implement adding a course to a schedule. Currently, schedules are their own entities, so a schedule item will associate the course with a schedule. Currently, we don't have it working in the front end, so we'll just improvise with the back end. Yeah, we'll need to grab a bearer ID through this. And yeah, we can create a new authorization, or we can create a new schedule item with an arbitrary discussion code and lecture code, and we're going to attach it to schedule ID of 67. As you can see, this is now associated with the schedule. You can also retrieve it by taking this ID, and you can see that this exists and this is the schedule it's associated with, and you could also delete it as well. So what was the ID again? 69. And yeah, it's deleted now.
Yeah, now that we have a way to associate schedule items with a schedule ID, we had to go into the schedule controller and modify the /get/ID endpoint to reflect that change, where originally with the get endpoint, it used to only return the schedule entity, but now if we execute it, it should return JSON with two fields, one classes, where classes is an array of schedule items associated with that schedule ID, and schedule is the original schedule entity.
The classes are currently empty because I deleted it, but I'll add a new one. And then we'll just execute to show it off. And yeah, you can see the classes here. So some technical challenges that we faced while developing this quarter was trying to understand the code base. I think I can speak for most of us. We took around 2 to 3 days to really understand how these files interacted with each other and to find out what methods needed to be made and what entities needed to be created, because we weren't sure what was created and what wasn't. So did we have to utilize our own creativity to, or did we have to create new resources or use the old ones?
Yeah, and another challenge to go along with that would probably be like getting used to the whole GitHub workflow, like a Kanban board or like user stories, linking those with pull requests, code reviews, kind of the whole GitHub process. It's almost like a new language. And if you're not really acquainted with that, you can struggle. So that was definitely one of the harder aspects, at least for me, for this course.
Yeah, another technical challenge was testing. I feel like I can speak for everyone, but testing was basically as hard or not, or like even harder than implementing a feature we had to do. So as a team, we definitely had to learn new skills in testing for both the back end and the front end and kind of develop a new mindset to test properly.
Yeah, and then I found out when I pushed Heroku secrets to our Git branch that I had that it's actually really hard to revert mistakes that are on GitHub. So definitely something I learned.
All right. So this has been our final presentation for Course Search. I think our team is scheduled. Yeah. And yeah, thank you for listening.